Okay. Thinking of the 1960s, it's not hard to feel static, especially with the T-shirt I have. We have wonderful technology, clean houses, um, and just with the colours, we've got lights like in my kitchen, produce um, so many different wavelengths of light. Um, Not that the light can be um, said definitely that it's a wave or a particle, but if you think of it having being like a wave, the the waves bounce off the colours of the t-shirt. Um, uh, Mathematical cacophony that takes our eyes and then makes us happy. So today, doing the Stedman Australian book. I think it was first published in Great Britain actually, but and it's become quite famous around the world. But it's a book. It's quite Australian. Takes place around the time of the First World War, um, in a small coastal town, um, which is about 300 kilometres under Perth. And there's a lighthouse off the coast of that town, and the book deals a lot with the lighthouse keeper from his perspective. So, going back from time which we know had a lot of problems in the 1960s, as well as the happiness, but going back twice as far as that, we can imagine that we know that life was hard and quite unrelenting for the people who lived there and their parents before them and their parents before them. Only even talking about the people who come from England, trying to leave behind a lot of problems there. And we can imagine them looking out across the ocean and being at least reassured that we've got this lighthouse with its perfectly formed bright white walls and this amazing glass forming a prism on top, which would be quite amazing bit of engineering back then. But it's, of course, it's not all ideal at all. And I'll just read from page 23, the paragraph down. Then in 1914, things changed. Portuguese found that it had, that's a small coastal town there, that it had something that the world wanted. Men, young men, fit men who had spent their lives swinging an axe or holding a plough and living it hard, men who were the prime cut to be sacrificed on tactical altars hemisphere away. So there's a lot of parallels throughout the book, and one of them is that the main character, I'm not giving anything away by saying this, but he does, just in the first few pages, he goes away and fights in the war. You find out World War One. And there's a lot of parallels with the big things happening in the world, the horror of them, but also the human spirit which tries to, in spite of feeling that life is meaningless, fights against the meaninglessness. And we know what happens after World War One and the problems and horrible famines and people just basically having no money, and then the world just getting even more horrible with World War Two. So the writer is she's absolutely excellent writing, and on top of that, I say she's top 10 to 15% of writers for fiction, and on top of that, she does have such a well-formed story with all these parallels, and I think she must have done hundreds of edits, but it's really well-formed, really well thought out. It is a sad story, but I think it's quite good especially for men nowadays, the main character grows to be quite sensitive. And if you use an analogy of him in a robot right on an ocean, um, the ways of life, as he grows weaker, as he ages, he's nonetheless able to see the ways in life that he can't control, and he does see them and do his best to ride with them and to do good. And it's quite amazing how he does do the right thing, even though he's he's really got impossibility of his feelings. He really has to go against his feelings and do the right thing in the book. I've just got a couple of quotes. It's not that one's. I'll grab the other. There's yes. Yeah, good lines. There's what's it called? One from Fred Rogers, one from what's it called? Henry Noah. This is a nice picture someone put up together. But this one from Henry Noah. The inward man is faced with a new and often dramatic task. He must come to terms with the inner tremendum. That's quite interesting. Sort of relates to the book, what the man Bioscape has to go through. And then this one from Fred Rogers. When I was a boy, I would see scary things in the news. My mother would say to me, "You always find people who are helpful." So it's sort of related to the lighthouse keeper and both things have gone on inside his life that he can't overcome, and the um, the fact that no matter all these things happening, he's out of his control, way too much for him to deal with, and he can't correct them. Things that happen to him, and he does, however, choose to do the right thing. So he does become he does become one of these helpers. Rogers is another was talking about. So yeah, it's not such a sad book. There is another book I had in the book club played, but that is a library. That is I'll do later. This to do with the death railway in Burma during World War II with the prisoners of war from Australia, from Tasmania. Um, but yeah, you can quite easily read it. I didn't personally relate to it exactly. I did like some of the engineering things of the lighthouse actually. She's obviously done a lot of research. The author knows a lot about it. I think she did live in a town, maybe with a lighthouse too, growing up. But yeah, it's well worth having a look at if you're all interested in so like a human drama from early 20th century Australia. Um, yeah, it's really quite good, and the writing is, I'd say, very good. Lengthwise, it's even 350 pages, so it's not too bad. If you're not sure you like the content, I'd say borrow it from a friend or look at a sample chapter online, Google Books, or borrow it from the library. Or I did also watch the video. The video, I think it was $5 on YouTube. I think you can get it for variety ways, but it was $5 to rent, and I'd say it's pretty good. The movie probably there's so much, of course, they can't put in the movie that's in the book. I probably wouldn't watch the movie myself, but definitely the book. It just has something. The book, of course, can have something to offer everyone. The movie can be a bit of a strain to watch for an hour and a half if you're not really into it or you find it emotionally draining, like I did a little bit. So yeah, that's that book, and yeah, look into it if you want to. I did keep noticing things about it. More I read it. There's I think it's scorpion on the front below the title. So I mean, it's sort of like a bit of a um, metaphor for what happens in the book with life, I suppose. things fake or whatever you like think of it as, really throw things at you. So yeah, that's it.